kind of scary because selling your house and moving and all of that should be an exciting thing, and it is. It puts such an emotional toll on us, and I hope we're ready. I hope it's not as emotional and stressful the next time we do it.
1, 2, 3, paper. 1, 2, 3, rock. Dang it, I thought you were gonna go scissors.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the vlogcast.
What's
today. We're here to talk to y'all about several different things. If you have seen our past couple of videos, we talked about some updates and changes we've done in our house.
I'm Cullen.
Cullen.
Got her.
I'm Katie.
I'm Cullen. What's up?
Cullen. Yeah, hey. Sorry, I just jumped right into it. I wasn't messing around today. But hey, we're Cullen and Katie.
Hey.
Welcome to our channel. We're talking about all kinds of things, going on a journey to pay off $100,000 worth of debt and downsize our life. Our house has been a process, and we're here to share a little bit more about that today. If you don't know, we listed our house for sale almost exactly a year ago. And that was an interesting situation. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in this video. But we took it off the market when quarantine started and have been just kind of hanging in the balance of, are we gonna stay here, are we gonna sell it, or whatever else. And so we've been doing some updates one way or the other. We're gonna either stay here or we're gonna sell it. In the general, have realized it's too big and it's too expensive. It's more house than we need. It's more money than we need to or wanna spend. So it's not feasible for us to stay here long term.
We'd be happier somewhere smaller, I think.
Well, I don't know that it needs to necessarily be about happiness, because I think that's kind of part of one of the things we've learned in this process is being able to find happiness where you are.
Right, well,
and
yeah.
we have,
I use happy in a weird sense. We'd be more comfortable, maybe.
Well,
like,
I think
overall,
as far as stress level, not just maintenance of a larger house and a smaller house versus a smaller house, but like in order to continue to pay for this house, it puts you like at the very top of your budget, sometimes way over your budget just on the house. And we don't want to live paying all of our money that we make towards the house and having extra pressure to make extra money and all this stuff.
House poor.
We don't want to do that. First, we're going to tell you about some of the other updates we have done. We showed you doing our kitchen. We showed you doing Brooks's bathroom and doing a lot of different budget-friendly makeover things. And then also want to get into a little bit more about what we were just talking about, the whole decision on whether or not we're going to sell our house, try to sell our house again, and some major emotions that have come up as we've been making these updates and preparing for that.
So first things first, I'm the realist. How'd you know I was gonna say that?
Because I like that. Isn't that a song?
The curtains in the master bedroom, when we first moved in, there were like these massive like hotel banquet curtains. We just took them off. When we have friends over, it's like, whoa, you don't have any curtains in your bedroom? Like, people can see stuff, can't they? And the sun's gonna come up and wake you up, but no.
It hasn't really bothered us, but we know that it kind of does help rooms to feel a little more cozier and softer and more welcoming when you do have some type of shades. The sun rises on the opposite side of the house, so the sun's never bothered us, and our master bedroom is technically on the main level, but because we're on a hill, it's actually like up a level, so nobody's like walking by to see it, and then we have a bunch of trees and stuff behind us. So unless you're an actual peeping Tom intentionally trying to look at us, you're not gonna see anything, and if you are, then you would see us even anyway.
you deserve to see us if you're that peeper.
So when I measured to see the size of curtains, they needed to be 120 inches. That's how tall our ceilings are in here and where the windows come to. I was like, those are gonna be freaking expensive curtains, so maybe it's not worth it. And I said, let me just check on Amazon and just see what I can find. So I was able to find some sheer curtains that were $10 a panel, I believe. They're not thick, so they're not gonna keep out sunlight. That's not been an issue for us.
They add depth to the room.
Thank you.
And more.
So I'll leave a link to them below. They're actually really interesting. If you're looking for like a sheer or something just to add a little touch, but you don't want to spend a boatload of money, they're made by Arm & Hammer, and they're actually supposed to be like absorbent of smells and stuff.
Deodorizing curtains?
Deodorizing curtains. So I thought it was really cool, and they were the cheapest one I found. They're actually decent quality. They are very thin, but they're supposed to be, but they've got like nice thick metal grommets on the top and everything. So yeah. I was very impressed by them for the price, for sure. Now we got the dude blue in our backyard.
One thing we do pay for, pest control.
I mean, you don't need bugs all crawling in your house. It's gross.
No. And he's being a pest right now while we're trying to film, but he's just doing his job. So you go, boy. If you hear anything in the background,
should we just keep talking over it?
It's not an airplane, it's the pest control.
One question I do have about the curtains. If you saw Cullen's Spot the Difference post on Instagram, he posted what it looks like with and without. It does add some depth, but then after I saw it, I was like, oh, I think sometimes people that have multiple like separated windows in a room across a whole wall will separate the curtains. So what do you guys think? Do you like them pushed all the way back on either side, or do you like them hanging in between all of the windows?
Another crack in the system was the toilet seat. Katie sat on it one too many times and it just started cracking.
Sorry.
And there was a couple cracks in it. No, there was one.
Pretty rough on toilet seats.
I don't even know how it happened.
It was Brooke slamming the seat down and it cracked right where the little foot thing,
yeah,
you know,
banged
touches.
down on it. So we had a cracked toilet seat, and over time that thing starts pinching you a little bit when you need to get sitting. So we had to get that updated. You ordered one off of Amazon?
Yes, with everything, I have done my freaking research to find the absolute cheapest option that I could find, and without having to visit a million stores. And I found one on Amazon.
And it's an easy close, so it's easy on the fingers and helps with the slams.
Helps you not get crack
with the slams. I'm going to take a slam. Katie also did her research on the toilet brushes.
Oh my gosh, I was so excited.
We had one, but it just got dirty and nasty.
We never even showed the one we had.
Yeah,
we had had it since our last house. Somehow the outside of it had gotten nasty and rusty. Like, I don't know who was touching it with wet stuff on the outside.
Brooks and me probably peeing all over it, splatters.
Ew, that's probably what it was.
Or whenever you clean it and then you put it back in,
it drips,
the water
maybe.
just drips out.
Yeah. But it had gotten disgusting, and I mean, it sits out by the toilet. We could hide it, but it was just gross. So I was like, we really need a toilet brush cleaner. So I researched and I was like, these things are stupid expensive considering that it's a toilet brush. So I found these on Amazon that were $15.99, and it came with 2 toilet brush holders with the like pretty metal stick that goes down in there, and 2 replacement brushes. So technically 4 brush heads, 2 holders, and they were white with like the metal on top. I thought they were really pretty, and I was like, this can't be right, because most toilet brush holders that are a holder were like $20 themselves, unless you're just getting like the cheap plastic, which we totally could have, but we wanted it to look nice and finished. And when I found these, I was like, $15.99 for 2 of them suckers and 2 extra heads. Done.
Done.
So,
as always, links are in the description below.
We'll leave the links below to everything that we found.
Starting to sound more and more like Philly D.
The next thing on the list is something that a video we referenced in the last video from last year. I had cleaned out all of our under the kitchen cabinets, never made it to the island. I think I even said in that video that I was like, I'm gonna do this over the next week. I didn't get to these right now. I will eventually, that's my plan. And it's been a year and I just now did it. Under our kitchen island was ridiculous, out of control, and like, it was awful. And it's one of those things that I debated on, do I spend the time doing this? Because there's more important things people are gonna see, but I feel like the kitchen and storage in a kitchen is really important. And so when people come in, I know when we went and looked at houses, we were like opening cabinets under the island to see how much storage there is.
Like where you put your pots and pans.
Under our island is actually huge. It's a very big storage space. And so I got that all taken out, went through a bunch of papers. Like, there was stuff in there from 2017 when we moved in that I had just shoved under there.
There were like coupons from 2007 from the previous owner.
Yes, that was crazy. There was like a Bruno's. I don't know if that's like a local thing, but if y'all are from around here, Bruno's, and it was like a
supermarket
free deal on a spiral ham or something. And they had bought some stamps in November of 2007, which I assume were for their Christmas cards, and it said method of payment, personal check. And I was like, oh dang, they wrote a personal check at the post office.
For some stamps.
Yeah. So I got that cleaned out and reorganized, and it feels so good. Like, even just living here, it feels good. It makes me be like,
makes me wonder
stuff.
What the people, the 30 plus showings that we did have thought when they came through and opened up. Yeah, and we're like, what's under here? Oh, well, there went a cutting board that just slipped out. You know, like things would fall out when you opened it up almost because it was just shoved in there.
And you wonder too if people see that and they're like, dang, these people, like, what else do they have that's just like, they just have a mess everywhere, you know? In the process of doing that, I did touch-up paint on those cabinets, wiped those down, and got those looking back to par again. If you haven't like gotten down on the floor lately, like sit down and look at your cabinets. You might want to consider that, because I was like about to throw up at some of those cabinets. They were so gross. I was like, what have we been throwing around in this kitchen? So we got that done. It's been really interesting in doing these things as we've been doing them. It's obviously exciting and like fun, getting stuff looking nicer and spiffied up. But the closer we get to doing these things and like thinking about the purpose that we're doing them, we've been very aware of our emotions and all that goes with putting effort into trying to sell a house, trying to buy a house. There was actually, as I was painting Brooks's bathroom, I got into listening to the Young House Love podcast. If y'all aren't familiar with them, they just downsized, sold everything and moved to Florida. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so relevant to us. Like so many of the things they said were relevant to us. But they were talking about a survey that they saw. It was a Zillow survey that more Americans are stressed out by selling a home than by planning a wedding or getting fired. And like those are pretty stressful, significant life events. And as they talked more about it, and I like went to this link and read the article, it was talking about how selling a home is one of the most stressful experiences in modern life, second only to a relationship breakup. And a relationship breakup is a pretty big deal. 36% of homeowners say the process left them in tears. And I'm like, 36? How come more of y'all aren't crying about this? And then of those who cried, 20% shed tears 5 times or more. I'm like, pretty sure I've already done that.
Did they talk about in that survey how long it took these people that shed tears to sell their house? Because like we said at the beginning, like this has been a year-long we've been trying to sell our house for a year basically, from the initial putting it on the market to now.
And yeah, and getting it ready and everything else. It's been a little bit over a year of living in emotional state of transition and unknown and like, okay, so let me just tell you, based on what you said, good segue on that. Selling a home can be challenging for many reasons. Among those surveyed, 70% were stressed by uncertainty over the sale price. Did we or did we not deal with that a million times? We dropped our house price, we listed it for too much, yada yada. 69% were stressed their home wouldn't sell in their desired time frame. Check, we've been going through that for a year. 65% were stressed that an offer would fall through. Check, we had that happen. We had a contract on our house in October and it fell through. And 65% were stressed about fixing up their home for sale. Check, we're doing that for the second time now. So it's like—
It doesn't say anything about percentage of people being stressed due to a pandemic while you're trying to sell your house.
Literally all the things that they said were the most stressful about selling a house. We have been under the surface dealing with all of these things for a year. And it just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a better place right this moment talking about it than I was earlier, but I was like seriously just about to cry from just the thought and the emotions that come up. We've got a little PTSD from the last experience, and not only how long it took, but just going through the motions and feeling all the feelings that go with like, okay, you're about to list your house. Is it gonna sell? Like, do we need to start looking for somewhere else? Are our kids gonna be starting school in the same place? Are we like—
Big deep breaths. Yeah, big deep breaths recently. It's been, yeah. I touched on this on the podcast that went up yesterday, or on Tuesday, but like, it's just, I didn't even know I've got all these emotions going on in my head. And I'm like, I just feel like I got stuff to do. I feel like I got to do stuff. I feel like I got stuff to do even though we're stuck at home.
All of these fears that people have about the sale of their home being stressful is one reason that people hold off on making a change that they need to. And that's kind of where we've been the past month. Like during when the pandemic and everything happened, we were just kind of like, oh, I don't want to have to go through all this again. And I was just about to say, not to mention the kids are home and aren't in school, and so they're stressed because they don't have their usual stuff going on. What, buddy? There's just a lot of things in life that are super stressful and that people who maybe haven't even sold a house can relate to. Like it says that this was selling a house or preparing your house to sell was more stressful than planning a wedding, getting fired, or becoming a parent. I was like, dang, becoming a parent is like a huge adjustment and change. And I think obviously we try to stay positive and keep a positive attitude, and we're not complaining. I just think sometimes we feel like we can't complain, or we can't have emotions, or we can't have any negative emotions because we should be thankful and we should be like glad for blah, 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 all the things. And that's true, but I think we also need to allow ourselves to feel the emotions, and that it is okay to be stressed by all of this. Like a lot of people go through the house selling process, and it's like we did with our last house. I mean, we got it ready, that was stressful, but we listed it and it sold within like 48 hours. And we thought that was stressful, which it was. I mean, it was stressful.
One thing I said when you were reading that article, we work from home, so why is that just too hard to get your house ready if you work from home and that kind of thing. And it's like, there are people that work jobs, but there's also with the pandemic and stuff going on, people that have been stuck at home now during the pandemic.
I think people have
a better understanding of what it's like to work from home, as well as
having your kids home and managing the house
ready for sale, and yeah, like
managing your job, managing all this other stuff. I mean, not to mention other just like life changes, obviously, that we've been going through in the past couple of years. So I think this isn't all to complain. It's just kind of to let you guys know that I feel like a lot of times we feel like we're being inconsistent with posting videos or with content on different platforms or Instagram or whatever else. And I feel like we stress ourselves thinking like, why can't we just get it together? And there's a lot of other stressful stuff going on in our lives that we're managing. And so sometimes you just have to take a step back and let yourself feel the emotions, understand and give yourself some grace on it being a stressful situation. And just know, I don't know, it's just hard. I've compared it to the whole like going through trying to have a baby and then having a miscarriage, and it's definitely, and when I said that, I was like, it's definitely not even on that same level. But reading this article, it's like, obviously it's not the same sadness and loss of life, but it is a similar like level of stressful experience. And it's the kind of thing too where, you know, you see other houses in the neighborhood pop up for sale and then they're under contract and then they're sold, and then you see moving trucks and you're like, how the heck, like what are we doing wrong? And so we've obviously been talking to our realtor and doing all kinds of research and making sure we're doing everything as right as we possibly can. Everywhere else in the world, it's like, oh, it's a seller's market and houses are selling like this. But our neighborhood is an older neighborhood and some people are looking for that. There's a lot of new construction near us. Some people are looking for that. And so
it's been an emotional roller coaster as far as all that goes too, because it's like we fell back in love with our house. Like, remember how mad I was in that one of those first videos, if y'all have been following along, about just and I'm back to that like madness in my brain. I feel like why the more of these little things that we do to not only just make ourselves feel better as far as the house and the happiness goes, because it is nice to see some of the touch-ups and stuff that we've done, but it's also just like, oh, I can't believe we spent the money. Like, why did we buy it? Yeah, why did we do this without these touch-ups being done by the previous sellers?
It just makes me emotional because I don't want our kids to be stressed. I don't want us to be stressed for the sake of our kids. We don't necessarily have an exact timeline and all that right now, but it's the thought of being about to put ourselves back into that same situation and like just knowing how it was just like up and down and brutal, left and right, and so much thought going behind every single thing. And it's just knowing that it's coming, I guess. I don't know. I feel like when we were trying to get pregnant and we had a couple miscarriages and then about to start fertility treatments and all that stuff and then got pregnant with Gaines, it's kind of that same feeling of like, this will be wonderful if it happens, but what if it's as awful as it was, you know, the previous 2 times?
And then the pandemic's picking back up.
Yeah.
Like the whole scenarios that we thought about originally to take it off the market. Like, it's just like,
it's just kind of scary because selling your house and moving and all of that should be an exciting thing, and it is. It puts such an emotional toll on us, and I hope we're ready. I hope it's not as emotional and stressful the next time we do it. Anyways, we're enjoying doing the updates.
Yes, and it's been fun spending all the birthdays and Father's Days and Mother's Days and all the celebrations in this house, and just being able to have the room during the quarantine and stuff to run around. And
I remember there being like this very clear moment, and I remember telling you, I think you're gonna think I'm crazy for saying this because it's one of those weird things to say, I guess. But I was cleaning up the kitchen, and it was when we had first listed our house, maybe like last August or something, or September. And I was like, why is our house not selling? And it was like I heard this like voice of God specifically tell me, like, I don't want you to leave there with only bad memories. And I was like, literally, that's all we had here. We did have good memories, but there was so much underlying badness
and
to our relationship.
You have so much more to learn. I remember you saying that, and you're like, and you just have so much more to learn about yourselves and about this whole process. Installing an oven, installing a pedestal sink, and doing these little details. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we've learned as a couple, as a family. And
the thought of leaving last year when all we had was primarily like negative emotions and feelings was like, yes, good, let's get the heck out of here. And now the thought of leaving is, I mean, obviously we want to and we need to, but the thought of leaving is sad because there are so many good memories we have here, and we've gone through so much of a life change here that it is hard. And so we definitely wouldn't be leaving here with only bad memories at this point.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, that does it for today's video.
Thanks for listening to us.
As always, check out the links below for any of the stuff that we mentioned or talked about. And yeah,
I'll link the Young House Love podcast too, because they're just really fun. Like, they are so happy, and I've enjoyed listening to them. So
they're in a good state of mind. Thanks for watching. Deep breaths. We'll see you at your best. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.